Howdy peeps, are we doing well? So this is going to be another video to add to the collection, and it's a new day. Technically it's gone past midnight, so what an interesting time it's been for me, you know. So I'll keep on. Before I get into the video, I'm sure some of you might relate or might be able to relate in whereas at the moment I'm trying to fill a void, right? A void in my life. And I've been trying really hard with people. I'm not particularly fond of people at the best of times. You know, I mean, I don't mean like I don't like my friends or something like that. It's complicated, right? It's complicated. Because I see so many people out there that are my friends and I literally want the best for them. 120. And I don't know whether they don't want to exert themselves, they don't want to push themselves. Or maybe they're just happy with mediocrity. 138. It was actually 137 when I looked, but I predicted the 38. But this is, you know, it's that thing. Why live a life of mediocrity when you can have so much more? You can do so much better. I don't understand it. It confuses me. And then to describe the emotions, it makes me angry. It does, I won't lie, it actually makes me angry with people that I know, with my friends. And I look at them sometimes and it's just sort of like, will you please fucking pull yourself together? You know, and this is male or female, it doesn't matter, right? It's the same across the board. It's like, will you fucking sort yourself out? You know, it's that thing, like, you can't fix people, right? You can't. That's the worst part. Like, for me, I might come across as the type that, in this instance right now, that I blow smoke out of my own arse, right? I've worked hard to where I've got, to have what I've got, to be where I'm at. Am I happy? No. Am I happy? No. It's like I said before, it's like, for some people, material wealth is everything. You know, having a 60-inch TV, flat screen on the wall, having the latest gadgets, having the latest car on credit finance, usually. Great, so you don't even own it. Yeah, brilliant, way to go, good one. I'm just saying, right? So if you miss the payments, someone's going to come and take that away from you. Yeah, great, brilliant. What a wonderful way to live. Like, no, like, it really isn't, you know. And look, admittedly, in some cases I've been really lucky with some of the things that I've got. Right time, right place, you know, it was all 355. It was all happening at the right time and at the right place. But for me, it's not necessarily about material possessions. You know, and I get that everyone is different with this one. Like, to some people, material possessions is everything. Generally speaking, I tend not to get on with these people a great deal. You know, so I don't care if you've got the latest technology this, you know, oh, the PS6 comes out, you know, and you want to be first in line to get it just so you can brag, and it's sort of like, yeah, great. Like, really, who cares? It's just a thing. It's just a distraction from reality. It's a distraction, period. You know, as much as I've invested a shit ton of hours gaming and all of that over the years, And you could argue, well, I've wasted a lot of time. 501, you'd kind of be right. You'd kind of be right. But at the same time, it wasn't wasted because it was something that I enjoyed doing. So to me, it wasn't wasted. To someone else, one man's trash is another man's treasure. You know the score. But no, for me, it's the material side of life it's not a thing, right? It's like clothes, they have not a use by date. I mean, I've got some shirts that I've had there for probably 15, maybe 20 years. They're falling apart, I won't lie. They are falling apart. And I cling on to them because sentimental value. And you could say, well, maybe that's, oh yeah, but it's a material possession. It's like, yeah, it is a material possession, but it's a sentimental value at the same time. Like I was saying, for me at least, it's like I'd rather have a good bunch of friends, and in that instance also quality over quantity. I'd rather have 5, maybe 10 friends that I could trust with my life. I don't think I have got 10 friends I've got I could trust. Well, I don't think it would be totally reciprocal, in some cases. That's not to put anyone down. For those of you that know me, it's not to put you down. I'm just saying you probably wouldn't take a bullet for me. I couldn't blame you either. But some would, right? Some would. But for me, it's not about the material possession side. It's more to do with the connection with people. And more importantly, despite everything that I've spoken about in the last 8 years on the channel regarding going your own way and red pill philosophy and all of that, understanding that to a lot of people that is just literally a coping mechanism, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's part of human life. Now, the problem with referring it to as a coping mechanism, obviously we've seen a lot of female content creators back in the day. I mean, we're probably talking about 2016 or something like that, when they were mocking guys going their own way, because they didn't understand it. For starters, they don't understand what it's like for a guy. The competition and the fact that it's easier for a girl to choose the guy, right? They get the final say. It is literally as simple as that. They get the final say, and I don't need to go over all of that. You all know it anyway. Which, arguably can turn them somewhat narcissistic. The women I'm talking about. I'm just saying. Not all. It can do it though. That is my point. And so if you're not meeting a certain stature, right, say it's that thing of like, they get this ideal in their head. Again, MGTOW is also an ideal. It's, for a lot of guys, it's practical and it works for them, and fair play. The truth be told, it doesn't work for everyone, and when you're in the early stages of going your own way, that is when you'll be at strongest. But over time, if it's not in you to go your own way, if you actually want that partner, then you're not going to be going your own way forever anyway. And then it's down to what lessons you learned previously from relationships, whether you're going to ignore red flags, and so on. Right, but for me, getting to the point of it is like, it's always been about the people that I'm surrounded by. This is why, I suppose, even when it come down to what I'll call biker culture, when you start looking at motorcycle clubs and You know, I'm talking about real motorcycle clubs. I'm not talking about like riders clubs out on a Sunday afternoon or some shit like that. I mean actual clubs. You know, you go through the whole shebang. You actually do proper prospecting. You know, you get to earn your patch, right? And you your life becomes the club. That's what it comes down to. It's like nothing else takes priority other than the club. Now that in itself has its own issues from my point of view. You know, some things I think you can't really put anything in front of. But in some cases that is what is expected. But at least they do it properly, right? I'm just saying. At least it's done properly. Now, digressing back 10 minutes ago, 10:58, when I started talking about what I was talking about, trying to fill this void. Well, I found myself back on Amazon and buying myself a few more things to make myself feel better. Short-term gratification and all that crap, right? There's me talking about material possessions and shit and how I don't need them. But no, I've bought some more things and it's kind of self-help. Alright, that's the card I'm going to pull, is it? Self-help, right? Okay then. Yeah, well look, when stuff gets here I'll demonstrate, but until then I'm just going to put it down to it being self-help, right? I'm trying to fill a void because, you know, if truth be told, I've been empty for a little while. You know, I've had this hole in me, and I think a lot of people experience this in life, whereas it's that Four of Cups moment. You know, you're sat there with your arms and your legs crossed. You got someone trying to hand you a cup that's full of your favourite whatever drink, right? And you'll just sit there and you're like, nah, not interested, not having it, don't want it, sling it, you know. Now, one of the things that gets me to that point, and I won't lie, sometimes it can be relationships with people. And I don't mean like intimate, I just mean general relationships with people. You know, I get like that in particular when I think I'm being ignored. You know, and I've had this a few times with people, and I'm just sort of like, I've got to be really careful, you see, because like I said before, I've got a bit of a sharp tongue, and sometimes I can not necessarily say nasty stuff, right? But I can say stuff that makes it incredibly difficult and very awkward, especially for me, to go back on. Right, I can say something, and you know, it's that moment of like, of all the things, did I have to do that? Did I have to say that? You know, but it's just it. Like when it comes to interpersonal relationships, and especially with people that I care about, you know, what I consider to be close friends, and I'll see that, you know, maybe they're not responding to messages, and I get that there's a level of hypocrisy from me because sometimes I do it, right? I'll see a message. I won't lie, there are times like if someone's not messaged me in a few days and they come up with some excuse of whatever, you know, oh, they didn't check their phone, and I'm like, you didn't check your phone? This is someone that's always on their phone, and you're going to sit there and tell me that you didn't check your phone? It's like, don't lie to me. Don't do that. Because you're already on one strike for ignoring me, if that's what I think you've done. You know, if you're in that scenario and you're looking, you're thinking, I know you've seen it, I know it's flashed up on your phone, and I know you're being a dick. I just don't know why you're being a dick. And then the typical scenario that I've encountered is that they'll come in a bit later with, oh yeah, I'm sorry, I'm just really crap at communication. And I'm like, no, you're really crap at communication with me, because with the rest of your friends you're all right, but with me, there seems to be a little something going on there, which I think needs addressing. And like I say, the problem is when I'm in that kind of a mindset, I'm very, very cutthroat. You know, I mean, I think a lot of people didn't expect me to cut someone out of my life recently. I think what people do a lot of is underestimate me. That's the worst thing anyone can do, is underestimate me. You know, you might think everything's all hunky-dory on the surface, but believe me, if I think there's some dodgy, sketchy stuff going on, I'm waiting. I'm waiting for an excuse to cut you out and tell you about yourself. Now, sometimes I'm a bit... I'll be compassionate, right? I have a level of compassion, but if you've been a dick deliberately, make no mistake, I will literally tell you everything that is wrong with you and then cut you out, so you don't even get to... It's that typical thing that what narcissists do, right? Which is kind of ironic, but it's like, you know, if you've been wronging someone for such an amount of time and you've been treating them like that, and you think you should just get away with it because what? Because why? You know, and this is especially true of like relationships where you've been breadcrumbed. You know, you've been putting in your all, and they've given you jack shit. You know, and you're just left sitting there thinking, all this time I wanted what was best for you, and all you've done is fuck all. Like literally fuck all. And like I say, when you combine that with me being in the mindset that I've been in recently, and whereas I'm feeling that void, I'm feeling empty of relationships, intimacy. I've been lacking intimacy, and I think it makes matters worse. In whereas, you know the expression, like, if life gives you lemonade, lemons make lemonade, right? Well, if you if you feed me breadcrumbs, right, I'll give you a dark night of the soul. That's exactly what I'll do. Here's everything that's wrong with you, now fuck off. There we go. Now, to a lot of people, to some people, even that kind of treatment doesn't affect them a great deal, because they're too stupid and they're too ignorant, they're too immature to know any better. They just think, oh yeah, you're just a bald-headed prick, or whatever bullshit they want to fucking tell themselves to make themselves feel better, because they don't have the IQ, right? They don't have the intelligence to figure out that maybe that there was something that they were doing that caused that situation to happen in the first place. You know, and it's that thing, like I say, it's... So as a result, I tend to, I suppose, alienate myself. I go into hermit mode. And it's not that I'm necessarily looking for introspection on something. I'm just staying the fuck away from people because they're getting on my nerves. Yeah, their fakery and their bullshit is winding me up. So I'm like, you know what, I'm fucking done with that shit. You know, I might have tolerated that when I was younger. And even now that I'm older, I'll put up with it for so long, but don't be thinking you're going to be pulling that shit on me for years at a time. It won't happen. You know, the most I'll let it slide for is 1 year. I say that because my most recent one has been 3. Whereas I was just making excuses for someone. Oh yes, but this. Oh yes, but that. Now fuck it. Let's all be grown-ups and be done with the excuses for people and just fucking tell them about themselves as and when needed. They'll either learn and do something about it. They'll heal. You know, they'll do their own actual introspection as to why they keep on losing good people in their life. Or they're just going to sit back like a child and blame everyone else and point fingers and spit their dummy out, kick the pram over and complain about how difficult life is. These are usually the same motherfuckers that haven't even left home yet. I'm just saying, for those that it applies to. But this is just it. You know. And I think that is, you know, you're probably thinking, what's this got to do with what I was talking about like 20 minutes ago now? Well, it's that thing, it's like I value people and I value friends, and it's like if someone starts taking me for a ride, or I think they're taking me for a ride, I'll fuck them off. And a lot of people won't do that in this day and age. A lot of people are too fucking scared. You know, they'd rather the security of a bunch of people in some cases where, you know, they don't have what it takes to cut someone out. They'd rather carry on being fed breadcrumbs. Well, fuck the breadcrumbs. Fuck that. You're worth more than that. I'm worth more than that. You know. And a lot of the time these people are negative karmic pricks anyway. You know. They're the type that run around gossiping about people. They're the type that run around, you know. The difference between them and me, right, is I will tell someone to their face if I don't like them and why I don't like them. These other low vibrationals, they'll just run around in the background talking shit about someone. And that's not the sort of people I generally associate myself with in this day and age, because they are low vibrational. And for the most part, they're fucking cowards. Just saying. You know, if you're not willing to stand up for something, especially something that you think is right, if you're in a group setting, right, you've got a bunch of friends, and you've got one person that's done shit or said shit that you disagreed with to one of your friends, and you carry on being friends with that same person, do you seriously think he's not going to do that shit to you? He or she, for that matter. Do you think they're not going to do that to you? Of course they are. They've already shown you what they're about. They've already shown you what they're capable of. What makes you think you're going to be the exception? Oh, well, we've known each other for years. So? Like I keep saying, loyalty is a time-served thing. And like trust, you know, it takes a long time to build up and earn someone's trust. And once you've lost that trust, and once you've lost that loyalty, they become as near as damn it impossible to regain. And it certainly won't be at the level that it was once, you know. But people don't seem to consider these things these days. Or maybe they do, they just don't really take it as seriously. And then eventually, when the moment comes when they do get shat on by the person that shat on their friend previously, or metaphorically speaking, of course, what are they going to do? Act surprised? It's like, well, you knew what they were like. Scorpion and the frog analogy, straight away. Back to that one. Scorpion and the frog. Anyway, 23:57. Thank you all for listening. Till the next one, stay cool, stay free. Peace out.